just welcome you to the studio. And I did want to mention, too, we did note that we offered both candidates 15 minutes, but your staff did let us know that you're under a time constraint here, so we have 7 minutes. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's go ahead and begin with, if you are elected, what is your first priority to tackle in Congress?
Thank you, Simone, for having me. Look, I'm a local father, husband, raising my family in Dale City. I served 25 years in the military, and when I retired, I chose to make Dale City my home. I'm among my family and friends, and we have a number of local pressing issues, everything from improvements to infrastructure on I-95 to restoring Roe v. Wade. The Dobbs decision actually eliminated a constitutional right. So my daughter, 14-year-old, has fewer rights than her mother and women have for generations. And I will also fight against Project 2025, this manifesto for a second Trump administration that would politicize the civil servants, the hardworking civil servants that make up 15% of the district.
The economy, inflation continues to poll as the #1 issue with voters. So if you're elected, what do you propose that you can actually do to give people some relief?
Sure. As a local resident, as a husband and father, the house that I have now in Dale City, I'd frankly have a hard time affording with today's interest rates. Now, there's been progress made. Obviously, a 50 basis point cut in interest rates is a good start. But the cost of groceries is still too high, and gas prices are too high. So one of the things that we have to be acknowledge is the fact that corporations are making record profits. Corporations are making record profits at the same time that consumers are paying extremely high prices. So consumers and workers are suffering. I would fight against corporate greed. I would fight against corporate monopolies, and that's one way to control prices.
Abortion rights. Do you support federal action, federal legislation, and in what form?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, 2 years ago, before Dobbs, a little over 2 years ago, there was a constitutional right which has been removed. Somebody that served 25 years in the military, it doesn't sit well with me that my daughter has fewer rights than women have enjoyed for generations. So I would vote in favor of restoring Roe v. Wade as the law of the land. It's a fundamental health care issue, and it's a right that women deserve. I would restore Roe v. Wade, and I would block any attempt by extremists to impose a national abortion ban.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just on this point, this is a fundamental question in this race. I get it all the time, and my opponent has refused to answer where he stands on restoring Roe v. Wade and restoring women's reproductive health care.
Anderson said when he was on here he would not vote for a federal abortion ban. He supports contraceptives and IVF, just to give some more context to your statement there. I did want to ask, speaking of your opponent, he has been targeting your military rank, saying that you have embellished your title and your combat record. According to your military records, you retired at the rank of lieutenant colonel. However, you did reach the rank of colonel. You didn't serve the 3 years required to officially retire with that title. Now, your campaign has often referred to you as a retired colonel. Have you embellished or misrepresented your military title?
Look, my opponent is lying about my military service record, which I'm very proud of, just like he lied about his fake family. And somebody that's going to lie about something as fundamental as whether they're married, whether they have a family, how do you take them at their word when they talk about issues like Project 2025 and abortion? He's lying about my service record because he wants to distract from the real issues in this race, which are, again, abortion and where he stands on Project 2025. And to your point, and his response is that I think you just followed evidence. Look at who he's been funded by. He's been funded by the most radical elements of the Republican Party. He is campaigning with people like Jim Jordan, extremists, Mr. Government Shutdown. And so when he says that, and they've made an investment in him, so when he says that he's not going to vote in favor of Project 2025 or abortion, an abortion ban, I think we just follow the evidence.
To clarify, did you retire at the rank of lieutenant colonel? Yes or no?
I'm a retired colonel, and
but there's
any
a
embellishments.
There's a difference in rank there. So just help me clarify and help me understand, right? So did you retire officially at the rank of lieutenant colonel, even though you hadn't yet hit the requirement for colonel?
So, Simone, again, my opponent is lying about my record, just like he lied about his fake family. I'm entitled to be called colonel, And that's all there is to it.
Okay, what about, as you touched on, you're a decorated veteran. You have a distinguished career. That's not up for debate. But to clarify again, your opponent is attacking your combat record. Did you fight in combat?
Well, my answer to that is I deployed to Iraq, a combat zone, and I'm proud of my record. I received hostile fire pay. My opponent, once again, is lying about my record, just like he lied about his fake family, to distract from the real issues in this race. What voters care about, what they care about is high prices, inflation. They care about abortion, restoring access to abortion care. And those are the important issues in this race.
So when you posted on Twitter February 10th, quote, "I'm running for Congress because democracy is on the line. I fought for our nation in combat." Yes or no, you fought for the nation in combat?
I stand by what I said, and I stand by my military service record.
Okay, let's move along. In terms of gun violence, what would you like to see happen to decrease gun violence, especially among our young people and in schools?
Sure. As a local dad raising 2 kids in Prince William in Dale City, my son actually had a school a shooting that occurred, a lockdown. So somebody brought a gun. It wasn't a school shooting as far as people getting shot at, but somebody brought a gun, it went off, and they had a lockdown. So your mind goes to where every parent's mind goes in situations like that. My daughter so far this year has had two lockdown drills. So she's learning how to survive instead of learning math, science, or reading. Over 80% of this country supports things like red flag laws, enforcing, closing the gun show loophole, safe storage requirements. These are the common sense policies that I would work with in a bipartisan manner with Democrats, Republicans, and Independents to pass in order to make sure that we keep our kids safe. My motivation comes from my family and my children and keeping them safe.
We have been seeing what a tight race this is. Polls have just been neck and neck throughout. If you're talking to an undecided voter, someone who's right on the fence here, what would you say to them?
Yeah, look, I'm a local husband and father. As the Washington Post said when they endorsed me, I'm pro-business and pro-military. I'm a moderate. So when I served in the military, I served under Democratic and Republican presidents. When we jumped out of airplanes, when I was a paratrooper, it didn't matter whether you're a Democrat, Republican, black, white, whatever part of the country. You're focused on the mission. I'm mission focused, and I will get the job done for the voters in the 7th Congressional District.
Quickly, our time constraints, but what can you say about the border and immigration?
Well, I look at it as somebody that served in national security for 25 years, as somebody that was an advisor at the White House. I'm in favor of a strong border. There was a proposal this spring to have a border bill, the strongest in recent memory, and extremists on the Republican side, including those that back my opponent and the former president, who recently just endorsed him, killed that bill for purely political purposes. I'm in favor of getting the job done, working for the voters of the 7th Congressional District, in favor of a strong border, while at the same time recognizing that we're a country of immigrants, and the immigrants are the strength of this country and not and the lifeblood of this country, not poisoning the blood of this country.
Yes or no? This is all I've got. Can you get something done in a bipartisan sense on the border if you're elected?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you again, Mr. Vindman, for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.